Hey friends, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. It is TheTranspondster here with you today, and we are back in The Sims 4 doing another speed build. Today we are actually rebuilding the Goth family home. We are building it on the same lot that it originally comes on, but we have bulldozed it and started fresh. This is part of my rebuilding all of the worlds for a save file, so because we are in Willow Creek, we are sticking with the New Orleans theme that we decided to go with. And the neighborhood that we're in, I have already built one home in, and it is the Garden District area of New Orleans, so we stuck with that theme. I looked up some homes in the area and kind of got an idea of the look that I wanted to go for. I found this really nice home with a curved piece at the front, and that was my inspiration. I did change the fact that this house is black though. Typically in the Garden District, I see a lot of white stone homes or some very classic brick homes, but not a lot of dark colors. So I feel like this home stands out a little bit in that sense, but in terms of shape and layout, I think we really nailed the Garden District vibes. But, it's the Goth family. There's lots of blacks and reds, so we had to make it fitting to this family. And there's always the option to redo the siding of your home, so I think that that's probably what the Goths did when they moved in. They made it their home and suited to their characters. So I don't typically decorate with a lot of reds, so it was interesting to do the interior of this build, but I do end up pretty content with how it turns out. I also noticed when I was putting the brick on this home that there is a werewolves brick that is literally just a recoloring of a base game brick, and that's so disappointing when you find stuff like that. I guess it's to be expected at this point. The game's getting pretty overloaded with content, so I guess it's come to the point where we're just gonna refresh old content and hope that no one noticed that it's just a recoloring. But I just so happened to try out both the bricks, one right after the other, and went, huh, that is the same brick, is just a different color. But it's EA, so we know stuff like that is bound to happen. Because a lot of the homes in the area have the white stone, they tend to have the offsetting colored windows, so there's a lot of dark in the frames of doors and windows, but I did the opposite because we went with the black stone. I did a white door, and then I actually did end up keeping the windows black, at least on the exterior. Inside, they do end up having a white frame, so the interior doors I'm able to make white, but I like how it ends up turning out in the end. And I basically just used the same window all the way around this home, with the exception of a couple bathroom windows, and then that triangle window at the very top, which I believe comes from Horse Ranch. And if it's not Horse Ranch, then it is most certainly Growing Together. It's one of those two packs. I have started using the bigger pod lights to light up my builds at the start. I just thought it might be easier to go through at the end, deleting them before I put the permanent light fixtures in that are more fitting to the build when it's finished. So I don't know how I feel about them yet. I find that when I'm decorating, they get in the way more than the smaller ones do. The smaller ones, I don't even notice that they're there, and then these ones, I kept feeling like it was taking over the shot. But let me know if you guys even care or notice a difference when you're watching through, because I might just go back to using the small ones for my own personal preference. But, you know, I don't think at the end of the day it's not that big of a deal what lights I use to do this process. I'm just trying to make my content the most enjoyable for those watching. I do get two entrance points to this backyard. It's actually more of a side yard. I ended up lacking a lot of lot space once I had the house built, so I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a proper backyard because the other garden district home that I did had this full on front courtyard, and I guess they also had a side yard too, but it was a much bigger space that we could fit a pool, and we even got it set up for like a wedding ceremony because the Sims that live there are already engaged, so it seemed fitting. But this home, the side yard is a little bit lackluster in comparison. It is a pretty good size, and we do get a hot tub there and some lounge chairs and a whole barbecue eating area. So at the end of the day, it really isn't that small of a yard, but it's not what I wanted for this kind of home. I expected something more luxurious. I just was so limited with my space that it didn't work out that way. It felt like putting a pool in would have taken up the entire side yard, and I wanted space for some other things going on out there. Around the back of the house, there's this interesting back deck. I have a staircase going up as well, and that is actually Cassandra Goth's room, which I think is so neat to be a teenager and kind of have your own private entrance to your bedroom. I feel like it's not the most practical layout because as a parent, you probably wouldn't stick your teenage sim in the room that they can easily sneak out from, but I feel like the Goths are kind of not so high strung when it comes to parenting. I feel like the kids would have a lot of free will and kind of come and go as you please, especially Cassandra because she is already a teenager in that little bit of a rebellious stage. Her room is actually the only room I don't really use red in. When I went to do their makeover in Cass, which is already up on my channel, I'll leave that linked in the end of the video so you can go watch that next if you haven't already. But I noticed when I was doing their cast makeover that Cassandra had a lot of touches of pink throughout her makeup, so I made that kind of shine through, and in my head it was like her teenage rebellion because her family is already, very gothic looking. So I mean, they're not really, but their name is the Goths, and they're very into the dark red, moody looks. So I feel like Cassandra liking some bubblegum pink is a little bit of her teenage rebellion. I also use these flowers from the Romantic Garden pack. I don't use them that often, but I've been using them a little bit more frequently in my builds. I've never noticed how pretty they are. I kind of always forget that that pack even exists, but then it was free maybe like a year ago at this point, and I feel like it kind of brought it to attention again. So even though I already had the pack, I was seeing people doing builds and stuff on TikTok to showcase the items, and it just made me revisit it because a lot of the items in that stuff pack are actually very gorgeous and great for parks and a little bit more done up homes. So if you are interested in getting that stuff pack, I would say that it is kind of worth it. Obviously it would have been better if you got it when it was free, but it's coming on a long time ago, so yeah, I would get the Romantic Garden stuff pack if I was like limited on options left, like if I filled out my game for the most part already. Obviously, if you've got stuff packs like Paranormal or Home Chef Hustle missing, I'd probably recommend those first, but yeah, Romantic Garden has its perks too. I originally put this light stone in the bathrooms and kitchen, but I ended up going back over it with some dark stone because it seemed a lot more fitting for the home. It was definitely too bright before when it was beige, so I like how it turned out. And it is very matchy-matchy when it comes to the wallpaper and flooring. I just kept it the same throughout all the bathrooms, and most of the rooms in the house are the same wallpaper, with the exception of the bedrooms having each a different wallpaper to change it up and personalize it a little bit more. Cassandra's, like I said, is going to be the pink one on the back, and then The large front room in the curved part is going to be the master bedroom. They have two balcony accesses, a walk-in closet, and an ensuite. And then Cassandra has her little exit door there and an ensuite. Actually, she kind of gets a walk-in closet as well. And then Alexander, the kid of the family, has the smallest room, but technically he still has his own washroom. It is accessible to everyone, but it's the only washroom upstairs that's not an ensuite, so I feel like it would make sense that the family would just say, Alexander, that's your bathroom. When they have guests over, the guests would have to go use that washroom. Downstairs, I do get like a 2x2 bathroom in, so it's technically just a half bath, but theoretically, if your sim had a party, that's where your guests would go, and then the upstairs bathroom would just be like a backup if someone's already in the one downstairs. I do get a guest room in this home as well. It's downstairs, kind of tucked in the corner off the kitchen, so that's a nice feature. I feel like the Goths should have a home big enough to have a guest bedroom in it. And then they have two living rooms, one formal with the grand piano and the greenhouse room off of it, or the sunroom, whatever you'd like to call it. I do get the globe in that your Sims can make drinks at, and then I decorate the little bar table next to it as though your Sims or the Goth family were sitting there having a glass of wine one night. I have a feeling that if you do download this house from the gallery, you'll probably want to clean those wine glasses up pretty quickly, because I feel like if you leave them to sit, they might start to get a little bit stinky, but it's for the decoration purposes at this point. We're just building. We're not actually playing at the moment. Now I'm just going through doing the bathroom and starting some of the... I want to say I start the bedrooms. I might hop down to the kitchen briefly, but... yeah, I had a lot of fun personalizing this. Like I said, red is not my go-to color, so it felt a little bit not the most aesthetic when I finished, particularly Alexander's bathroom, because there was a lot of just bright red, but he is the kid in the family, so it made sense that it was a little bit less decorated in its clutter, less put together. And then I loved using a lot of the modern Luxe kit furniture in Cassandra's room. I kept a lot of blacks happening, but there are a couple pops of pink throughout. I didn't want to go with a pink overload, especially once I put pink on the walls. That seemed like it was a lot as it was. So I really just added in the pink chair and the pink yoga mat, and then everything else for the most part is very dark and moody, because I feel like she is still a goth, so she's got to fit in with her family. She's not the black sheep or anything. I did put a microphone in her room just to give her a little bit something else to do. I wasn't really sure what skill building items to have in this home. I feel like some logic items are fitting for this family. I've never actually played the Goth family, so I don't really know what skills and everything that they're into, or even like their jobs. I didn't look into that. I just kind of went based off of the impression I got when I read their bio, and then I read their Sims wiki a little bit for all the games. I know they were in past Sims games, and this Sims game, The Sims 4, is like an alternate universe, so it doesn't necessarily follow the same lore and timeline, but I guess they're still the same old goth family. Mortimer does not deserve Bella. She is such an icon, and like I think she's probably the most loved townie, with the exception of like the classics, the Grim Reaper and Father Winter. I don't even know if I'd consider Father Winter a classic. He is strictly a Sims 4 sim, but definitely the Grim Reaper is a classic. Bonehilda might be another one that people are like, obviously Bonehilda's number one. So there's some debate out there, but for me, even though I don't really play the Goth family, Bella Goth is the queen. she's like the most sought after woman in the game. Even though she's technically taken, I feel like she should still be on the market behind the scenes because we all know Mortimer is with the Caliente sisters. I had a lot of fun with Cassandra's bathroom. I'm not a huge bathroom person. They're just kind of a blah room to me, but I liked decorating hers too. Like a teenage Sims character. It's a little bit cute and girly, even though it's still very dark and black. Very somber, this house. But I feel like the Goth family would be happy living here. There's lots of space. It's very elegant, and yeah, they all have their own rooms and stuff to do. I felt like Alexander was a little bit nerdier, so I gave him the science table and I put some science themed posters up. And then I also got him the Void Critter battle station. You will need to collect some Void Critter cards in order to be able to use it with another child sim, but it's one of those features in the game that I don't use that often, so I like to try and throw it in the occasional build to force myself to incorporate it into gameplay. Even though I'm not going to be playing in this house, probably, it's just for my save file to make it all look more put together and just refreshing the stale worlds that EA gives us with half finished homes, rushed homes. Obviously, in the newer packs where they've gotten some Sims content creators to collaborate and build the homes are much more thought out. But because they are originally created to be very user friendly on all gaming platforms, all kinds of operating systems, they aren't as filled out in furniture, so I feel like it's still nice to go in and give them a refresh. Also, I just like building, and it's natural that I run out of lots, especially when there's only one or two empty lots in the worlds. I'll go and bulldoze the ones that aren't empty, so unfortunately that means I am bulldozing some YouTubers' homes, but it's okay. They got their chance and they made it to the game, and I'm sure a lot of people are out there actually using them. But being a builder, I am all about building everything myself, even down to community lots. I also, when it comes to community lots, I really like to merge multiple lot types into one, so it may be slotted as a park, for example, but if you slide it as a wedding venue or a community pool or rec center, it would work because I've set it up to be all of the above. Just hypothetically, I don't think I actually have a lot that's a park, a wedding venue, a pool, and a rec center, but I hope you get the point that I'm making. And then I thought it was kind of neat that I got some plants on top of the cabinets in the kitchen because I had that space, and I feel like in real life that's a kind of trendy and popular thing to do. So I really nailed it with the clutter in this kitchen. I like how it turned out, and there is actually probably 2 or 3 full counter spaces that your Sims can use because a lot of the items aren't actually slotted on the counter. They're just placed using Alt and Move Objects. If you don't know how to do that, you'll open the cheat bar with Control Shift C, type in testing cheats space on, and then you'll type in bb.moveobjects space on, and then you'll be able to place objects anywhere you want, and then if you hold down the Alt key, it unlocks them from the grid. I think I'm going to start making some, it'll probably be shorts, but like my #1 build tricks, or like I might do a whole video on my YouTube with my favorite short keys in the game. That's going to be a PC based video because I've never played on console. I tried it once years and years ago and absolutely hated it. I don't know if there are people out there that have gone from PC to console voluntarily, but if they have, wow, I really commend you because I could never. Just the user friendliness of playing on PC is night and day to console. I don't think I would be able to build even somewhat close to how I build playing on PC. So I would lose a lot of gameplay that I like, and I don't think that that move would be smart for me. So, unfortunately, in terms of my content on YouTube, I'll sometimes look up, I think, the answers for console players. If I'm sharing some information, it would be nice to be able to let people that play on a different platform know how to do it as well in their game. But because I don't play myself, I don't think that I'm the right person to be giving all these tips and tricks for console because at the end of the day, I don't actually know. I did struggle with the layout in furniture when it came to the less formal living room. I guess you would call this the family room because there's stuff to do for the whole family. Whereas in the formal living room, it's very much sit, sip your drinks, have a nice conversation, sit by the fire, maybe read a book, listen to piano, whereas the family room off of the kitchen is more let's sit, watch a movie, play some video games, listen to music. Um, I do get a shelf in there with like a china cabinet shelf, and then I put a little seating section next to it with like a chaise lounge. So you could curl up with a book there, but I don't actually have a bookshelf in this room, so your sim would have to go grab it from another room. Oh, and then I got some darts in this room too, which I thought was a neat touch. I don't use the dart board that often because of the space that you need for it. You need, I want to say, 4 full tiles, and I tend to be 1 tile short of that every time I go to use it. So I was happy I was able to squeeze it in here. And to be honest, the Goth family seems like the kind of family that might have a dartboard for their form of entertainment, especially if Mortimer has like his work buddies over for some scotch on the rocks. They might go throw some darts as they hang out. I feel like Bella would be up in her room pretending that she had the house all to herself and that there wasn't a bunch of men downstairs just getting drunk and loud. But yeah, I feel like that's the kind of family that the Goths are. Not necessarily the happiest couple, but one that does what they have to put on a show for those outside the family. Typically, when I'm playing a family in The Sims, I very often do like the happy family style gameplay, so it's really nice to have some different styles of families to switch it up. I feel like if I did play as the Goth family, I would really play into Mortimer and Bella having an unhappy marriage, and Mortimer's balancing some affairs on the side, and Bella's just kind of putting her head down and pushing through as a high society kind of wife who wants the image of a perfect happy family but doesn't necessarily have one. So I think that aspect adds a lot of fun to the gameplay if you utilize it. I love the wall shelf that comes with the Paranormal stuff pack, but no items slot there nice, so I have to always use one of those cube shelves from either high school years or Dream Home Decorator to line it up where I want the item to sit and then moving it over, because if you use the 9 key to raise them up, they don't always sit at a nice level for the shelf. They're like hovering above it. Although in the living room on the china cabinet, I think those pots do cut in a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. You can't really tell. And then I do get a little laundry room in here. You may have noticed I got hampers in all of the bedrooms or bathrooms upstairs. So here is their laundry. I do apologize if you are not one who likes laundry in The Sims. You are more than welcome to delete it and put even just like a woodworking bench in that room to fill out the space, or the flower arranging table, anything you want other than laundry. But for this save file that I'm doing, I am trying to incorporate laundry into all of the homes that I think would be able to afford it. And then there will be some homes that I don't include laundry in, or maybe I'll just put the off the grid laundry items, because I did build a laundromat in Willow Creek earlier on my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to go watch that one as well. I'm just kind of putting some final touches on the interior, decorating the last little corners, like the upstairs hallway, that front balcony. I really just put a yoga mat, a couple plants, and then I swing around to the back and I get the patio area going. I use the floor tiles or stones that come with for rent, so it looks like they're just like paved stones put down on top of grass, and I like how that looked. There was a dark swatch, so it fit the theme of the house. I don't really have much for Alexander outside. I think I got the water balloon bucket that comes with seasons, so he could go out and throw some water balloons at his sister. I'm sure Cassandra would love that, especially if she's just sitting there lounging with her mom on a sunny weekend day. But yeah, I like how cozy the backyard turned out. I like the curb appeal of the home, and at the end of the day, I like how I was able to work with all the red. I think making red the main color on the wallpaper was a smart idea on my part, rather than having all this red furniture throughout the home. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching along with this build. I hope to see you for the next video. I thank you all so much for being here. It makes my day to see you guys enjoying the content that I'm sharing. I have a lot of fun making it, so I'll be here for the long haul. I hope you will too. I'd love to see the kind of community that this channel can grow into. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and most importantly, have a nice day. Bye, guys.